Greetings, it's Vaygrim. Welcome to a much overdue vlog. I meant to do one actually last week, but I got so preoccupied with troubleshooting this setup that I just didn't have the time. A problem developed in my recording rig middle to late last week, where suddenly audio started getting more and more out of sync, and then I started loading up files I'd recorded, and the video would be half the length. It would show only like the first 5 or 10% of the video, and it wouldn't show the other 90% of it. It was there, and the file, if you looked at it in the Windows Explorer, it showed as the right length. If I put it in my primary editor, it would only show as the first 10% of the video footage. If I put it in my backup editor, it would show the whole thing, but when I tried to actually edit or render it, it would crash out the software. Even VLC would randomly crash out sometimes. So files were definitely getting corrupted somehow, but I didn't know how. Turns out, about a week before that, I had actually installed DxTory to mess with it, and the new version of DxTory goes out and looks for all other capture software codecs that you actually have, and it reaches out and grabs those, and it uses them. So when you start up DxTory, suddenly you can use all of the codecs, 32-bit or 64-bit, and it lists them for anything from Bandicam, Fraps, OBS multi-platform. It lists them out one by one by one, and that's bad. Because basically what that meant was, as long as DxTory, it didn't have to be running, as long as it was actually installed, not running, just installed on the system, those programs wouldn't capture. So I uninstalled DxTory. Now here's the thing I screwed up with. When you install DxTory, it asks you to shut down Chrome because it can't install the video codecs it needs. Now the only thing I can think of, reasoning behind this, is that Chrome taps into your system-wide video codecs specifically for things like Google Chat, to actually, Google Hangouts and video conferencing and stuff like that. So I think it keeps that directory loaded. Basically, when I uninstalled DxTory, it did not do a clean install, and it didn't ask me to shut down Chrome during uninstall, and I forgot. Well, it turns out that directory stayed there for DxTory and a whole bunch of its DLL files. Every time I was rebooting my system and starting up Chrome, I think it reloaded all that stuff, and it just made the problem worse. Well, I went through, shut down Chrome, erased the directory, completely rebooted my system. Suddenly everything was fine. Everything was back in perfect working order. All my codecs were behaving exactly like they were supposed to. I went back to recording in Motion JPEG just like I used to. The files are bigger, but my video editor likes it best. Bulletproof, everything was working fine. One program caused me so much grief, I didn't even think about it. But I did actually have some other good things happen last week. That despite all of that grief and getting behind schedule on things, I've now gone back to a normal schedule. I put out a video yesterday, put out two videos yesterday. I put out a video on Sunday, Mad Max test footage, all sorts of stuff. And I do want to hear back from you guys, by the way. Do you want to actually see an LP of Mad Max? There's a lot of repetitive stuff. I would not do a wall-to-wall Let's Play. I could do some random footage or just show off my progress. And I wouldn't mind doing that, like a check-in kind of a thing, not a legit full-length LP. That could be fun, I think. There's a lot of really wild stuff in that game. Let's see. Last week on Friday, there was an event here in Houston set by YouTube, Google of all people, like legit, like YouTube staff. It was called YouTube Houston. I got invited to it a couple months back, and I didn't know what it was going to be, so I didn't really say much about it other than I was going. I didn't know what was going to come of it. Well, it was a whole bunch of Houston and Houston area YouTubers that got invited. It was very interesting about growing your channel, about developing and basically just growing yourself as a product. I have set something down. Hang on a sec. Where did it go? So it was Houston area YouTubers and Houston area YouTubers, and it was how to grow your channel, how to do's and don'ts, good practices and bad practices. Now, they will tell you, YouTube will tell you that there is no universal do this checklist that will launch your channel to fame. It's about content, it's about personality, it's about how you connect with your audience and how they feel you are connecting to them. It's a combination of several mysterious factors, but there are some best practices and good habits. Like, it's best to format your thumbnails. This is something I already knew, but I learned it from Google in December of last year. It's best to format your thumbnails with larger font sizes, bolder lettering, easier to read when it's smaller, specifically because more than half, I think it's like 60 or 70% of the actual video traffic on YouTube is from mobile devices, which is amazing. So, I mean, when you think about it, most people are browsing on something that or smaller. I mean, this is a big screen. This is a 6 Plus, and it is a large in comparison to a normal 6. It's much bigger. So most people are browsing on something and watching your videos on something smaller than this, which means you need to make sure that if there's something important about your thumbnail, it needs to be, about your video title, it needs to be at the front, not at the back. If there is something, so if you have a catchy title, put it at the front, not at the back. If you actually have, episode numbering or a title, you need to make it big and bold in the actual thumbnail. Don't put it in the lower right corner because that's where the timestamp is. Don't put it in the lower left corner because when people add it to their watch later list, that's where the watch later icon goes. So avoid the lower corners and then basically just larger sized fonts. When you're doing videos and you have something that's got a user interface like Minecraft, set it to normal or large because when you put it on like small or auto, and you have this really small fonts, yes, you can fit more on your screen, but it makes it impossible for people to see the icons for stuff in any eye. It makes it impossible to see what you're dealing with when you're moving things around in your inventory. So it just makes it better when I set it to normal on any eye. Yes, it looks huge on my monitor, but it means that you can see stuff better on my actual videos, and that's important. There's lots of stuff like that. Let's see. It's funny. We had Bunny Myers. You might know her as Graveyard Girl. She has got I think it's a 5 million subscriber channel. She's been doing it for like not much longer than I have. She started about 2 or 3 years ago. I think it was about 2.5 years ago. I'm coming up on my 2-year anniversary right now. She didn't start much longer before I did. And she's a lifestyle channel. Makeup, beauty, not just makeup and beauty tips. It's also like clothing and general lifestyle stuff. And she has a bit of a personality. She's funny. And she's based right here out of Houston, out of Pearland to be specific. And she came and she talked, and it was very cool and informative. She gives some tips. And it's funny, her and the YouTube people that were interviewing her stated that they do not advise splitting channels for dividing up your interests. They say just be yourself, make your channel yourself, and if people like you, they'll like your channel. But in December, YouTube actually advised in the YouTube Creators Academy that if you have contradictory or interests that are different enough that they don't overlap, it's best to divide it up so it doesn't impact your views. And it's very interesting. So even within YouTube, they do not have a unified view about what is best to do things. But still, lots of cool stuff. We got to meet lots of interesting people that worked for actual YouTube itself. I got some email addresses for some of the people that actually work on the YouTube user experience team, some of the people that work on the YouTube gaming development team. So I'm going to get to email them some tips and some information about all of this stuff. And I'm very, very excited about that kind of thing. I took lots of pictures of email addresses and things like that. Oh yeah. I don't know if you can see that. I came away with a whole bunch of YouTube stickers. I've got, let me see if I can grab it. Oh, my monitor is moving. Don't wiggle too much, Mr. Monitor. Thank you. YouTube, little notebook. It's empty. But these are actually like legit printed up for, say, it's nothing terribly fascinating. It's printed up legit for YouTube. They're made. The inside book and the outside cover are. This is not something they just grabbed off the shelf and put this thing on. It's very cool. I got a pen, but the pen is crap. It's a YouTube branded pen, but it's garbage. My wife and I each got one of those. She came with me to the event. I got a set of Google Cardboard. Now, this is actually a snap-together cardboard kit. Oh my gosh, it's not in there. It's actually right here. This is what it looks like. This is how big of a dork I look like when I'm using it. And it's got a pair of lenses. I think they're actually plastic, high-density acrylic or plastic lenses or something. But basically, there's a pair of lenses in there. And the way that it works, it's just a little tab that Velcros in place, right like that. And it's even got instructions. You put your phone right here. So I would It does work with a 6 Plus. I would put mine right like this. It's a little big, so it sticks out the ends. But you just Velcro that in place. There's actually a rubber band. And that rubber band, I find it humorous. It's specifically to serve as traction. All that does is to make sure your phone doesn't slip out of the cardboard whenever you're tipping this around. What that does is it gives it traction so the phone doesn't go sliding into the case. It's real simple, but I love it. So there's an app you turn on, and basically it subdivides the screen into 2 quadrants, and the lenses do the rest of the work. So when you put this up on your face, you're seeing, and it really does work. It uses your, what is it called? Not a potentiometer, but a gyro. The thing that actually senses movement, direction, and stuff like that with your phone. So you can tilt to reset. That resets the actual software back to the main menu. It backs you up 1 step. And then you've got a little button right here that uses conductive foam. And it's got conductive tape. So when you push your button down on it, there's your finger down on it, there's a little wire and another little pokey thing that's got that same conductive foam on there. And you push it down, just like that, and it springs back up. It's real simple, but when you push it down, it's pushing against your phone screen right in the middle, so you can use that as a click button, basically, to activate things, go back, activate something. It's really cool. It's interesting. Now, I do not have the capture software or whatnot necessary. Let me put that over there. To actually grab what I'm seeing on the screen and stuff like that. I can show you just real simple. That's what it looks like. So you can see it moves around. And then I can actually just tap on the screen to go into something. This is kaleidoscope. And as you can see, it changes based upon views, angle, the whole 9 yards. And then it's this way. There we go. And that takes it back to the menu. And it's very simple. It's very interesting. It's a humorous little thing. There is an app, a free app. There's tons of free Google Cardboard apps in the iOS store. There's one that is specifically done by Legendary Pictures, the people that put out Godzilla, the Godzilla movie from a few years back. And they put out Pacific Rim, the giant robots fighting giant monsters movie. And they made a movie about you being in the cockpit of a Jaeger during a fight. And you can look around and you can even poke the button to fire off certain things. It's really humorous. It's really neat. And then there is another one that they actually have that is for World of Warcraft. And it is you flying around the skies of Azeroth for the new World of Warcraft as it's going to be for the new movie. It's real impressive. It's a lot of CGI, but still. Yeah. So I came away with the Google Cardboard. It's very cool. It's very interesting. Now, it is in no way really a competitor to the Oculus Rift or anything like that. You have to plug in headphones into your phone and then wear headphones while you're using this if you want real immersive sound. And even then, it doesn't have all of the functionality because you basically have one button press. It's like an old one-button joystick. But in terms of VR experience, I actually like it. I think it's kind of cool. It's interesting. So I got that. I was given that by my friend Nick at YouTube. Hi, Nick. And he was really cool about giving that to me. I thought that was very nice of him. It's the first time I got a chance to meet him. I've been in contact with him for about a year now. Via email. I've never met him. He's based in San Francisco or Los Angeles, somewhere in California. Anyway, yeah, I have a lot of stuff now from that's been acquired, and I'm still going through some of the information and listing some of the audio. I cannot release any of the slides, unfortunately. I signed an NDA for the event, so I cannot actually release any of the slides. I cannot release any of the audio from the talks, but I might put up a video about best practices and some of the tips that I learned later. I do think that might be useful. Let's see what else has been going on. Mad Max came out. Somebody got me Mad Max. A very, very nice donor. I have a group of people that support my channel, a small group of basically angels, as they refer to them, that support my channel, and they support it not through money, but through software. I get titles here, titles there, and I'm very fortunate to have these people that back me. I cannot begin to express how much they have injected life-wise and interest-wise into my second channel, my PC gaming channel. They've given me a lot of legs up where I wouldn't have had the money to do so financially. And one of them decided to get me Mad Max, and I've been having an absurd amount of fun with that game. It is all sorts of fun. That being said, there are repetitive parts to it. I'm not going to lie about that. There are certain parts where you are doing the same kind of actions over and over, but the real fun about that game is being able to upgrade Max and his capabilities, upgrading your strongholds, upgrading the car, the Magnum Opus, and all sorts of stuff like this. And it's a real interesting process to see the new toys and the new tricks that you actually get to unlock. I just got this thing called, and I swear it's called this, the Thunderpoon. It is a harpoon cannon, but the harpoon has had the actual cabling taken off. Instead, it's been turned into a primitive missile launcher. It's got an explosive head, and it uses compressed air to fire this thing, and you launch it at another car that you're pulling up behind, and kaboom. It works. It's really humorous. You've got a harpoon cannon that you can actually use, and there's a guy in the back of the car named Chum Bucket that reloads it while you're driving, and he will aim and fire, and you can actually target other cars' tires, their bumpers. You can pick off parts from the car, like the car doors. If you yank the car doors off, then you can literally pull the driver out of the car, and the car coasts to a stop. It is hilarious. I absolutely love the game. I've been having a blast with it. It's great just to go top speed, zipping around the wastelands and blasting nitrous and jumping over ramps and dunes and stuff like that. Some more content from that. Let's see. What else has been going on? Guild Wars 2 finally announced the Engineer Elite Class, the Scrapper. I've already put a video out about that last week. And I'm very, very psyched to actually use it and see. I like what they've done. I like where they've gone with it. It's a very, very good improvement, a good addition to the engineer life, because engineers have a lot of broken stuff. Like turrets are not useless, but they're not far off from useless. I'm still searching for a viable turret build for my engineer. Another video for that potentially to come. But we'll see. Last thing. I made a thing. Now, this makes no sense to a lot of you, right? Okay. Let me break this down to its component parts. Basically, I have a GoPro. I use it for various projects. And the GoPro come with 1,000,000,001 little mounts, right? The mounts basically have these, there are buckle mounts that are intentionally made. Oh gosh, can I even get this thing out? There we go. So this part slides out. Two separate components right there. And this part basically just slides right in there. You have these stick-on adhesive buckle mounts that you can put on anything. And when you get a GoPro, one of the things that, if you get it on Amazon, one of the things Amazon will pitch at you is it's packaged by a third-party company that makes a whole bunch of accessories. They make extra. They give you extra buckle mounts. They give you like a floaty, because the GoPro comes with a waterproof back. So it's, you can immerse it in water. I could toss this in a full bathtub if I wanted to. No problem. And it comes with a floating handle. This is actually hollow, sealed plastic. I think it might be filled with cork or something, but for the most part, I think it's hollow. And so you just toss this in water and it will bob like this, so you can actually find it in case you're swimming and you let go of it. It doesn't sink to the bottom, it floats to the top. But you get a bobber handles like this. They give you really dorky, it's going to be great, head mounts. So you can look like a real big moron, and you put the camera right there so you can actually get, if you're doing, I guess if you were filming your own YouTube stuff, and you can actually do this for top-down, over-the-stove cooking channel kind of things or crafts, and you can see from your perspective. It's very interesting. It's super uncomfortable to wear, but it does work, and it doesn't go anywhere. They give you window mounts, suction cup mount things. You put this on a window, and then pump that, and it'll lock it in place. This was a little bit of a knockoff. It's not as good as the authentically designed GoPro one, right? And it has this little bit right here that sticks off, so you can adjust this and it pivots this way. And that had a little screw head on it, so that you can actually put the screw mount, the standard tripod mount for a GoPro on it. Well, I got that, and you just get this and you loosen these screws up. I put that mount off of that, put it on this, and screwed it in place with just one of the standard knob screws on the GoPro. And then I got one of my spare buckles and I stuck it onto a C-clamp. Right? So now what I can actually do is get this, lock that in place. I could clamp this on the edge of the desk. Why is that important? Well, now, not only can I put a GoPro there, I could clamp this on the corner of my desk. I could clamp it on a shelf, into a table, whatever, a pole. And not only can I do that, but I can use it with this. This thing is a tension clamp for a cell phone. So what you can actually do is get your average cell phone. There are old models and new models. The new models have a wider stretch, so they will fit the fatter phones like the Notes and the Pluses. And you get this, right? And it does work. It has a little screw threaded mount, so you can put it on a tripod. Well, what this means is now I can actually get this and pair them together, and I can actually mount this as a camera anywhere, because this is the best camera I've got right now. It's actually way better than my GoPro, because this thing actually does 240 FPS slow motion. Why? I don't know why you would need that on a cell phone, but I have it. So, yeah, basically, I have an improvised mount now that I can use for either GoPros or I can use for my cell phone. And I could do all sorts of stuff with this. I could actually mount this somewhere like this and use it mounted this way and do Periscope while I'm doing a live stream. That might be interesting. I could use use it for behind the scenes footage while I'm recording things. I could also record. And because I actually now have this thing just pivots this way, I have a lot of tripods that do not have any ball pivots on them. It's just a screw point. Well, now, because of this little part right here, I can use all the GoPro mounts with this and use it on my big tripods that actually just have the screw mount. They don't have any pivot or twist. And it gives me full tilt and pivot capabilities. So now what I can actually do is make sure that I can actually get good angles on certain things and use this for behind the scenes stuff. I could record me recording a session or editing or all sorts of stuff. There's a lot more capabilities and flexibilities that expand beyond just my wonderful webcam. And even that has a screw mount on the bottom of it. I could put it on an actual tripod. And the thought has occurred to me. I could actually remount it to the lighting pole I've got with this right here because of that screw mount, because it's the same thread size. So, lots of flexibilities. I'm going to be using this a lot more, I think. I'm still trying to find a good subject to exploit the slow motion functionality on this thing and just post some videos of it because I think it'd be neat. Let's put that away. $20 get you a whole bag of GoPro, crazy GoPro accessories. So many different things that you can actually mess with. It is absurd. I am going to call this a vlog. It is Tuesday. I'm hoping that I'm going to get a Google paycheck tomorrow. If not, it's going to be a long week. I will be streaming tomorrow, and 2 p.m. Central Standard Time is the standard start time. I was going to stream some last week from Forgecraft 2, but Thursday, Forgecraft 2 tanked, and then I started having this recording problems. Forgecraft 2 was down all weekend. So I just now got back onto it this morning so they can actually do recording. I think they fixed it yesterday or Sunday night. I can't remember which. But Forgecraft 2 was down for several days. But it's back up now, and I think we've still got several weeks, maybe even a month and a half. We probably have till the end of October, on a bad guess. I'm not sure if we're going to go all the way to, if we're going to reset the server at the beginning of October. I think that's going to be too soon. I think we're probably going to do beginning of November. That's my theory. We'll see. I already have plans on what I want to do for next season. But I'm going to call things quits here. Thank you very, very much. I'll see you on the next vlog. Make sure and check out Alien Isolation on Vaygrim's Choice. Oh, by the way, youtube.com/Vaygrim's Chance, right? Now you can do youtube.com/Vaygrim's Choice or youtube.com/Vaygrim's Rest. I've waited for 9 months to be able to do that. But I can now. So yes, I have unified URLs now. So if you go to youtube.com/Vaygrim's Choice, we actually have Alien Isolation going on there, and I'm loving that game. It is immersive and it's terrifying as crap. I've had a lot of brown pants moments in that game. I kid you not. It has been very spooky. Let's see. I intentionally record it at night after midnight when everybody else is in bed, and I get the whole house to myself. Might be wise, might not. I'm not sure. We'll see. Let's see. That is going on. I'm actually in the final, I think, end game of Dishonored. I think that's going to be coming up here in the next couple of weeks. I'm probably going to see the end of Dishonored. I've been doing some short episodes of the Guilds of Dungeoneering. I really do like that game. I would love to see some more views and likes on the series. I'm going to have another episode going up tomorrow on Wednesday. So if you're interested in it, if you'd like to see more, even if it's just one-offs periodically, then go give it a thumbs up, give it some views, and I would love to see that. I will talk to you later. Have a great week. Bye.